In this lecture, I'm going to take you through 10 words connected with scientific processes. And here are the 10 words: dissolve, evaporate, filter, extract, harness, synthesize, and dilute. So here's your first word: dissolve. Dissolve. You can dissolve. Notice, by the way, the z sounds diz, not dis, but diz. Dissolve. You can dissolve some substances such as sugar and salt in water. So if you add sugar to water and stir it, the sugar breaks up into tiny pieces. It dissolves. So you can't see it anymore. For example, so salt and sugar dissolve in water. Here is an instruction: shake the vial gently to dissolve the mixture. A vial is a bit like a test tube. We'll dissolve our partnership immediately. So here, dissolve is not a scientific use, it's for breaking up a business partnership, so it can be used more widely than chemistry. Basically means break up. You dissolve something in. You can dissolve something rapidly or slowly. And completely. You can dissolve something completely. The sugar completely dissolved. It's a verb, dissolve, so you can have dissolves, dissolving, and dissolved. There is a noun, which is dissolution. Here, by the way, you have the dis, not the diz, but dis sound, dissolution. But this isn't really used in science. Dissolution means an organization or a system that is broken up. It's often used in history. In fact, we talk about the dissolution of the monasteries, when the monasteries were broken up and banned from the English church. So some synonyms for dissolve: break up. Liquefy is a possible synonym as well, but it's a very specialized word. Some people think that melt is a synonym of dissolve or disappear, but not really. That's not a very scientific way to look at the word dissolve. Breaking up is the best one, I think. Your next word is evaporate. Evaporate. When a liquid evaporates, it turns into a gas. It goes into the air. So here you have a hot cup of coffee on a cold day. So you can see the steam, the vapor, rising from the coffee into the cold air. So the water in the coffee is evaporating into the air. I use the word vapor. You can see the word vapor here in the word evaporate. Steam is also called water vapor. So a liquid that turns into a gas is known as a vapor. Evaporate. For example, moisture is drawn to the surface of the fabric and evaporates. Seawater evaporates into the air to form clouds. The warm morning sun evaporated the dew on the grass. The dew. Dew is water that appears on grass early in the morning. You can evaporate into, such as into the air. Things evaporate quickly or slowly. Water evaporates. Those are very common collocations. Evaporate is a verb. So evaporates, evaporating, evaporated. And evaporation is the noun. Evaporation. And some synonyms for evaporate: dissipate, disappear, possibly. Vaporize is a nice one. Vaporize sounds a bit like Star Trek though. Dry out. And your next word is filter. Filter. If you filter a substance, you pass the substance through something which separates or removes smaller substances. So for example, here's a coffee filter. It's made of paper. You pour hot water through the coffee, and the water, well, that carries small pieces of coffee into the jug underneath, and it leaves the large pieces of coffee in the coffee filter. Here are some examples of the word filter. First, filter the water to clean it. The liver filters toxins from the body. Toxins are like poisons. Use a water filter before drinking. Very important. So you can filter water, filter out, filter through. And again, filter is a verb, filtering, filtered. And here's a noun. Now, watch what happens to the ending here. That's how you spell filtration. Filtration. It's a very common misspelling, but filtration is the process of filtering something. So the E in filter is dropped. So not filtration, but filtration. Filtration. Some synonyms for filter: clean, purify, refine, sift. Sift is usually used when you filter out big objects like stones and rocks from soil. And then the word strain. Strain is often used when you pour hot water through tea leaves. So you strain tea, but you filter coffee. Here's your next word: extract. Extract. If you extract something, you remove it, you take it out, like this poor boy in the dentist. The dentist is extracting a tooth from the boy's mouth. The dentist is taking the tooth out of the mouth, removing it, extracting the tooth. Extract. Okay, extract. Watch the ending here, it's bouncing. Extract. You stress the second syllable here. Extract can be used as a verb or a noun, but as is often the case with English words, we tend to stress the second syllable in a verb. When we use this word as a noun, we say extract. Extract. So if it's a noun, you tend to stress the first syllable. In this lecture, I'll focus on the verb extract. Extract. So the dentist extracted my tooth. Extract can be connected with information too. The police questioned him for hours. They wanted to extract information from him. Citric acid can be extracted from oranges and lemons. So you can extract things from, extract something from, extract information. Very common collocation actually. Extract oil from the ground. So here we have, as a verb, extracts, extracting, extracted. You can also use this as a noun. You can turn the verb into a noun to get the word extraction. So the dentist performed an extraction on his teeth. Not often used though, that word. But here are some synonyms for extract: remove, draw out, derive, glean. You often glean information. Pull, and elicit. Your next word is harness. Harness. If you harness something, you bring it under your control and you use it. Now here is a horse in a harness. We have by using the harness, we've harnessed the power of the horse. We control the horse, but not only do we control the horse, we can now use the horse to pull things. So we've controlled it and now we can use it. Some more examples. We use solar panels to harness the power of the sun. Turkey plans to harness the waters of the Euphrates River to make hydroelectric power. We want to harness international support to achieve our aims. So you often harness support, harness knowledge, harness energy, and with an adverb you can harness things effectively. If it's using as a verb, harnesses is the present simple. Harnessing, harnessed. Harness is also a noun, so a horse wears a harness. Some synonyms: make use of, utilize, exploit, and control. But remember, harness is kind of a combination of control and make use of. Tame. Tame is closer to control. Doesn't really suggest using something. Channel. Your next word is synthesize. Synthesize. When you synthesize something, you make a substance using chemical or biological reactions. But you can also synthesize ideas, which means bringing ideas together. Synthesize. Now I've spelt it here with a Z. That's quite a common spelling, especially in American English. In British English, you can also spell it with an ISE ending. British English tends to use lots of ISE endings, whereas American English prefers IZE endings, but both are correct. In fact, I'm British, but I tend to use the IZE endings myself. Some examples: after extensive research, Albert Hofmann succeeded in synthesizing acid. Vitamins cannot be synthesized by the human body. It was their aim to synthesize these factors into a comprehensive view of life. Some common collocations here: synthesize in, synthesize protein, synthesize molecules, and synthesize ideas. Incidentally, when you synthesize proteins and molecules, you make them. You make proteins, you make molecules. But when you synthesize ideas, you bring ideas together, maybe making a new idea as well. So synthesize is a verb: synthesizes, synthesizing, synthesized. You can also have an adjective: synthetic. We often have synthetic materials, so clothes that are made from chemical or artificial materials are synthetic materials, not natural ones. And synthesis. When you bring ideas together, you create a synthesis of ideas. And some synonyms for synthesis: for synthesize: combine, make whole, bring together, make. And our last word is dilute. Dilute. You dilute a liquid. If you dilute a liquid, it becomes weaker. We often dilute liquids with water, but you can also dilute ideas, which make ideas weaker. So, for example, if you give orange juice to your baby, always dilute it with water, make it weaker, because the acid is too strong for babies. The chemicals seeping from the contaminated land quickly diluted in the water. Here's one for ideas. Their ideas tend to dilute the significance of the Holocaust. This one is about making ideas weaker, diluting an idea. So you dilute something with something. You can also dilute by, and you often dilute solutions as well. As a verb, dilutes, diluting, diluted. You can also have the noun dilution. The process of diluting something is called a dilution. And some synonyms for dilute: weaken, water down, lessen, and here's a nice word, temper. Temper. You often temper ideas, you make them less extreme. So there are your 7 scientific processes words: dissolve, evaporate, filter, extract, harness, synthesize, and dilute.